What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miner. If you're new here, I do videos on motorcycles. Today I'm going to be diving into how to get started as a new rider. Whether you want to go hit the open road or even just commute to work, I'm going to give you tips and tricks on how to get started. Let's get into it. Now, first things first, you're going to need a license, obviously. An M1 is completely different from a standard Class C license. So you're going to have to take a written test, and then you're going to have to take a practical riding test at your local DMV. I have known many riders that have ridden for many years that can't pass the practical driving test at the DMV. It is extremely hard. A way to bypass that is by doing a motorcycle safety course in your local area. The motorcycle safety class was honestly like a lot of fun. I made friends that we go riding out together. The instructors were absolutely amazing. We took a lot away from the course, and it was a lot easier to get our licenses. And ultimately, these are things that I'm going to be using for the rest of my life. Now, I want to give you some advice. Before you do the motorcycle safety course, go ride a motorcycle. I know that's a little controversial to some people, but when it comes to the motorcycle license, at least here in California, the classes are $400. It's a lot of money, you know, but I mean, it is nice because you can just bypass the practical driving test from the DMV. But there's a chance that you can fail and you'll have to spend another $400 to take the course again. So I would personally suggest riding a motorcycle, learning from someone that has already ridden to give you tips and tricks on how to get started, and then take away some of the things that you get from the safety course. For example, my girlfriend, I would take her to our local community college. I got her a Honda Rebel, very low CC. And, I showed her how to do the friction zone, how to feel balanced, just gave her a rundown of the motorcycle. She would do laps around the parking lot by herself. We would go there when the school was closed on the weekends and whatnot. And having that little bit of sense of knowledge helped her excel and actually ended up being top of the class. So it really helped her. But I did see people that had never, ever touched a motorcycle ever in their life, and they failed. And, after doing this, it's 2 days, 8 hours each day. So you're with 16 hours with a bunch of people, you kind of build a sense of camaraderie. And to see your friend fail and knowing that they have to pay another $400 to keep going, it's sad, So it is a possibility. So I would recommend to get on a motorcycle before you do that class. If you have friends with dirt bikes on private property, or someone that is knowledgeable that has a small bike for you to try out, do it. I mean, go have them take the bike out to a spot, go meet with them, and just do something small, controlled, just so that you can get a sense of a feel of a bike before you actually hit the course. Now, once you get your license, that's not the end of learning, okay? You really, really have to dial in your skill. This has to be instinctively in your mind where it is just habit. At the end of the day, it is a dangerous thing to do. You can get hit, you can get hurt really bad. I've fallen twice now on my bike. The first time was pretty bad. I was in a wheelchair for a month, and all it was I slipped on some gravel. That was it. Nobody hit me, nothing. It was all my fault. I was a little too much on the outside of a road, slipped right from under me, and the bike rolled over my ankle. And it cost me a month of my health, It really, really sucked. Wiping your ass on your knees is not fun. Remember that. But practice like crazy, practice up and down your block. Once you have your permit and you're totally legal to be on the road, do the same thing that I suggested before. Go to a community college where you have a big parking lot when they're closed. Go ride around the curbs and feel very comfortable. See how far you can lean. Find the comfortability of the bike. Once you feel very instinctive and you think, okay, I got this, start attacking the streets, because now you're adding a bunch of variables. Now cars can come into it. You have to learn how to interweave through traffic. I forget the other state, but here in California, we're allowed to lane split. And so with lane splitting, I mean, that adds a whole nother more sense of danger. There's a bunch of dumb car guys that get so frustrated that you're splitting through them and passing them in traffic that they will purposely go and try to juke into you so that you don't pass them for whatever reason it is. Even though it is completely legal, people are stupid, and that's just a reality. So you have to be very careful when you're out on the street. So once you feel comfortable with no one around you, start to practice slowly on the streets. Then once you get really comfortable, start hitting some more like freeways and highways. So now that you have your license, now that you've practiced a little bit, what kind of bike? There's so many different styles of bikes there. Street bike, adventure bike, dirt bike, enduros, cruisers, and then there's all types of like subgenres in that, right? Like say you pick a cafe racer, is it a brat? Is it a scrambler? There's so many different subgenres of hardtail, chopper, if you want bobber, like there's so many different subgenres. Learn what you want to do. Are you going to be riding to just go with the boys on a weekend trip to go hang out on the open road? You probably want something a lot more comfortable like a cruiser. Are you going to be in the inner city and you're just going to be commuting to save money on gas? You probably want a tiny little street bike. You don't want nothing super crazy. Now, a lot of people will tell you to start with something small. And for the most part, I would agree with that. But I also think that you're going to grow out of your bike very quick. So I think something more middle base would be best. You can get something like a Honda Rebel. It's 250 cc's. It still hits 75 on the freeway, but it takes a while to get to 75. It's more of a top end speed. It's not a straight juke. Now, I don't think you need a Busa, you don't need like 1500 cc's on a sport bike and be able to take off and hit 210 down the freeway. You don't need that to start. But for example, like I personally own a Yamaha MT-03. It's only got 323 cc's, so it is more than a Honda Rebel, but because it's a street bike, it's the quote-unquote master of torque, it's zippy. It's got a lot of power. So even me, who's been riding for 5 years, that 300cc is more than enough for me to go. I've topped it out at 110 on a freeway, and it does just fine. I've kept up with some big engines, and it's no issue. So something to consider on the type of bike that you pick is also important too. I think realistically, anywhere between 600 and 500 is a great place to start because it's not like a 1000cc bike, but at the same time, you won't grow out of it super quick. Because I've had friends that have Honda Rebels for 250 and they get into it, and within 6 months, they're already trying to figure out how to sell it and get another bike. At the end of the day, that's going to cost you money because you're probably going to lose the value on what you originally purchased on the bike, and then you're going to have to spend more to get a new bike. So I would go something mid-range. The Yamaha MT-03, like I said, I love, and I think it's plenty, but there's an MT-07 and 700 cc's. It's not crazy fast, but it's not crazy slow either. So it's just around that mid-range, right? There's tons of bikes within that range that are really great bikes for you to start off on, but also have that power that if you need to get out of the way, you can make that happen. Another thing on picking a bike is, comfortability. I mean, if you're going to be commuting, say for example, I'm here in San Francisco and it only takes me 20 minutes to get everywhere. I don't need something super laid back and comfortable. The MT-03 is extremely zippy. I can get in, get out, make it happen. I get about 300 miles on a full tank and it only costs me $11 to fill up. So it works really well. But if you have a good hour ride for work and you're going to be using it to commute, I would suggest a chopper. Not necessarily a chopped out hardtail, but more so like in the cruiser style. Harley Davidsons are great, but there's obviously, of course, amazing Japanese versions like the Yamaha V-Star, the Honda Shadow, so on and so forth. But these bikes are also extremely fuel efficient, very comfortable, and low maintenance. And that's another thing. Low maintenance. That's something for new riders to get into. Now, if you are extremely well with tinkering and you have a bunch of tools and you love building stuff, cruisers are something that you're going to have to learn how to fix a lot. In my experience, the Honda Shadow that I had before didn't really give me a lot of issues, but my Harley Sportster did. And so I had to constantly tinker with it, fix things around, learn different things, buy tools that, you can't get just from Home Depot, right? Little custom torque bits and stuff like that are specifically starred to shape to take this tiny little thing out. If you're into that kind of stuff, then it doesn't matter. But if you're just like, I want a bike and I want to go, consider different options of bikes, right? Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki. It's kind of like, even though Honda makes cars, it's like Toyotas, right? The Toyota Corolla is an extremely efficient car, and as long as you give it an oil change, it's just going to go. Same thing with Japanese cars, or Japanese motorcycles, excuse me. As long as you give it an oil change and you lube up your chain every once in a while, it's just going to start. It's going to go. American bikes, you're going to tinker a little bit, especially if you get some of the older ones that have been used and abused. You're going to need to learn how to work on your bike. So that's something to consider as a new rider. What do you want to do? Do you want to spend your entire weekend trying to figure it out on YouTube, or do you want to go out riding with the boys? So consider that when buying a new bike. So now let's talk about safety. This is one of the most important topics. You need riding gear, okay? Me personally, I don't want to look like a MotoGP guy, so do tons of research. There's brands like Dainese, which are great brands, but you look like you're going to go to the track every day. And personally, I think it's really corny. So getting something that fits, that looks good, that you're comfortable with is extremely important, because I know so many riders that don't wear any safety gear whatsoever because it doesn't look cool. Well, when you're splat against a car, that's not cool either. So if you have protective gear to protect you when you're out riding and you fall, but you also feel comfortable, it's extremely important and you should definitely get it. Let's talk about gloves. So gloves are very important, right? Get a good pair of riding gloves, okay? Because one, keeps your hands warm, but two, in the event that you actually fall, you want gloves that are made to not rip and destroy. You can easily go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, any local hardware store, and get some faux leather cowhide gloves. You can get all kinds of mechanic gloves. As soon as you fall at 50 miles an hour on asphalt, they're ripping up, and guess what? Your skin is grinding against that asphalt, and it's not going to be a lot of fun. Riding shoes. Now, once again, making fun of the MotoGP guys that are on the city streets. You want some good shoes. You don't want something that looks too ridiculous because you're not going to wear them. You want something that looks like regular shoes that you can kind of hide, but at the same time, they protect you. I got these from Cycle Gear. They're Reacts. They're extremely comfortable. They look like regular shoes once they're tucked in my pants. I like that they were just black shoes with a gum sole. They have this protective layer right here when I'm switching, on my clutch, but it's also steel toe, and it has metal plates all around so that I don't twist my ankle. That was the problem when I had my first accident. When I slipped and the bike rolled over my ankle, I didn't have some nice shoes. It was just over some Vans, and so that's why I was in a wheelchair for a month. That sucked. Guess what I did? I bought these right after, and so I've had these now for the same time as I got my gloves, about a year and a half. These have been extremely comfortable, even when I'm hanging out with them for hours and hours on end at a party or something like that. I'm going to go home and ride. These are nice to wear. They look good, but they also protect me. Okay, let's talk about helmets. This is going to be the number one thing that you buy, right? Your helmet, you have to have a helmet when you're riding on your bike. It's extremely important. Before you buy all the other gear, you have to buy a helmet first. Figure out what you like. I've tried Sedici, I've tried Icon, I've tried a bunch of different other helmets. I got this one from Builtwell. It was $100 and it's DOT certified. Make sure it's DOT. It's extremely important that's DOT. You want to protect this. Fun fact, I just learned that the styrofoam that protects your head tends to go bad after 5 years. So when you buy a helmet and you buy it brand new, remember that you have about 5 years before it doesn't protect you as well. Still will protect you a little bit, but the styrofoam itself gets hard over time, and so it's not going to be as protective in 5 years. If you buy a used helmet from Facebook Marketplace, right, or Craigslist or wherever you go, you don't know how old that helmet is. It might not protect you as well as you need. So consider that when buying a helmet. Your brain is the most important thing that you need to protect on a motorcycle. So choose a helmet wisely. Riding jackets. Riding jackets are pretty important, okay? Your head is important. Your legs to get around are very important. Your arms and your chest and your back are very important. This one I got from First Manufacturing Co. I recently started working with them. These guys are super cool. They sent this out to me for me to try out. This one actually is made with DuPont Kevlar. So abrasion resistance for this is really good, right? It's not just like some cheap knockoff item that you can get on Amazon. Spend a little extra more. Cool thing is that because I ended up working with these guys, they gave me a coupon code. So if you want 25% off your order on First Manufacturing Co. products, use my promo code RamenRiderJPG and you'll get 25% off your entire order. So you can buy a couple of different items. This one's really nice. It's made out of recycled canvas, so it's also really good for the environment. But I also love that it's very comfortable and stylish. I can wear this regularly, even if I'm not on a bike. They have a couple of cool different versions too. I mean, of course, they have a bunch of leather stuff, but if you want just something a little bit more casual and once again, not look like a big old bulked out MotoGP guy, this is a good way to go. All right, guys, that's the end of the video. So hopefully you guys enjoy these tips and tricks. Really think about this. Really think about what you're going to do, how you're going to start your motorcycle journey, what bike, gear, everything. Do tons of research. Ask your friends. Ask me. Drop me a DM on Instagram, ramenrider.jpg. Leave a comment. I'll reply. I love talking to so many riders. It is so much fun. It's addicting as all hell, and you're going to absolutely love it. But before you do that, do all the research. That's why you're watching this video, right? So think about your gear, think about the bike, think about how you're going to get started. You can get tons of free resources online. That's actually something that I should have added that I'm going to add here now. Go on YouTube, which you're already on to watch this, right? And do, for example, it is now 2025 when this video is being recorded, California 2025 motorcycle exam. And guess what? There's going to be someone that is going to do all of the questions and answers, and you do them repeatedly and repeatedly, and eventually you remember them. And then when you go do your written test, you pass, right? That's what I did. I just went on YouTube, saw a bunch of exams, Googled California, motorcycle riding exam prompts, and you'll find tons of like fake ones that are, very close. You can go to your local DMV and get a motorcycle law book for free. Just go there and then you'll be able to study as much as you want. There's tons of resources. Study. Ask a bunch of questions to all your friends, and that's going to get you started on getting your license. Once you got all that, pick your bike, figure out your riding gear, and then just have fun, man. Enjoy yourself. Motorcycle riding is super awesome. I hope to see you guys on the street. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. All that helps my tiny little channel, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.